Do you feel like you're doing everything in your relationship and you're just exhausted and tired of it? And what you really want is your man's devotion. You want to feel adored and cherished and important like you used to. I remember when I was in this exact situation, I just felt drained. I was really doing everything. I was doing the cooking, the cleaning, the child rearing, and I was fixing all the problems. I just got to a place where I was burnt out. I was really overfunctioning. It's how I saw relationships modeled to me as a child. So, of course, then I would do that as an adult because that's how I thought that it worked. You work really hard, then you'll get the love that you want. If you do everything for your guy, then he'll be loyal and he'll stay. How many of us believe those bullshit lies? I know I did.
So today I'm outside and I'm going to talk to you about how you can stop doing it all and start getting the love, cherishing, adoration, and the devotion from your man that you really want. And you might hear my dogs a little bit in the background.
When you overfunction, you train your man to underfunction. So that means you're doing 80, 90% of everything and he's doing barely anything because why would he? Because you're doing it. You're doing everything, right? I just kind of hit a wall and I was completely done. So instead of being a fiance who was loved and adored, instead I became the manager and the mother. This is how you start becoming more magnetic and desirable to him like you used to be before you started being mommy and manager. Instead of being who I was when we met, the fun, happy-go-lucky person, I started to change with all the responsibilities because I was afraid that if I didn't do everything, it wouldn't get done. Yes, it'll get done. And if it doesn't, okay. The world is not going to end. We have to stop catastrophizing. And when I didn't take the trash out one time, or when I didn't cook dinner one time, the world did not end. I promise you. What happened was he came home. He was just like, there's no dinner. And I was like, yeah, we just had sandwiches. And I went on about my business and he made his own dinner. You don't have to do everything all the time. These are just habitual patterns and habits that we can stop. Because I'm telling you, you're not going to be the woman that you were when you first met, that he was desired, super attracted to, and you feel deeply connected with by doing everything and then feeling exhausted, resentful, and angry 24 freaking 7. I promise you. So you're not going to get his devotion by continuing to do that. So the first one is move in silence.
So this isn't about the silent treatment. This is about you reclaiming your own energy so that for the first time he actually notices your absence. He starts to wonder, where is she? What is she thinking? That curiosity is what starts to bring him back to you.
Because if you're thinking constantly about him and what he's doing and he's not doing and how you're disappointed and angry and everything, right? Because of his lack of effort, which is totally normal, by the way, to be freaking pissed, okay?
He's going to feel that pressure, and that pressure is exactly what keeps him under functioning, not giving his effort, not being present, not meeting your needs.
Number 2, stop fixing or helping your guy. So what this does is feels like pressure and control to him. You're not going to get a guy who's barely giving you anything. It feels like crumbs. He's uninterested. He's more focused on work and his hobbies. You're not going to get him interested again like you used to feel when you first met by trying to fix, help, or tell him what to do. That would do the opposite. That creates pressure. Pressure is control for him, and he's going to hate that.
So, what it looks like for me is I just stopped talking. I realized that every time I opened my mouth, I was either trying to help him, fix a problem, or tell him what to do. And this was actually pushing him away. I had to learn a completely different way how to communicate that didn't involve being in charge, fixing, or bossing him around. And that was one of the hardest things I've ever done. And it's exactly the work we do together in my private group, which changed everything.
Because I got so far away from me, the real me, that was living my life mostly out of obligation. And then I expected my man and my relationship to fill that hole inside of me because I didn't know how to do it myself. He will never step up, give you the effort, or start treating you like he used to with pressure or fixing or telling him what to do. He doesn't want a manager. He doesn't want a mommy. He wants a lover. Okay? Stop doing it all. And you may be like, well, if I don't do everything, it won't get done. I promise you it will. It eventually will. Like the kids need to eat, period. Unless the kids are old enough to make food themselves, like my kid's 10, she can throw in chicken nuggets in the air fryer. You know what I'm saying? I don't have to like cook meals every single night. Do what needs to be done, but you put a cap on it so that you don't feel resentful. So, like for instance, if he left his towel on the floor, if he left his shoes everywhere, right? If you're like, okay, I need to do this for my mental health, then do it. But don't be angry about it. Because resentment will eat away all the good feelings you have for your man, and it will lead to divorce. It will lead to a breakup. 100% So you need to resentment proof your relationship by not doing anything for him that will make you angry or resentful. If you ask him to do it already, know it'll get done. And then if it doesn't, the whole world is not going to fall apart. My puppies are in the background. The whole world is not going to fall apart, and he will feel the consequences of not doing it. That's important for you guy to learn. This isn't about fixing yourself, okay? This is about remembering who the hell you are. We've been so entrenched in responsibilities and what's got to get done and our to-do list and obligation that we are just drowning, okay? And then we start pressuring a guy, but why aren't you doing? Why aren't you helping me? Da, 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 da. We've just gone back. See, when you first met him, you were just happy. But then with all the daily responsibilities and the weight and the pressures of life, then that has really bogged you down. All that responsibility. There's no fun, there's no play. And now your relationship feels more like work. My relationship used to feel like a 9 to 5 job. And it was a lot of it was me. I was over functioning. And I just felt so exhausted and drained. And I promise you there's a better way. If you want to learn how to become so magnetic and alluring that your guy can't help to want to be around you 24/7, you'll finally get his help, his effort, and feel loved and adored again, like you used to. And that's a lot of stopping the behaviors, start to move in silence, without punishing him or feeling angry, and start learning how to live in your body. Okay. My whole life changed when I did this. We become so far away from who we are that being it seems like a foreign concept. Just being your amazing self and not having to do anything and just enjoy the present moment. That's what we're talking about, and how to live from that place instead of here.
So, what it looked like for me is I just stopped. So, what it looks like for me is I just stopped talking. I realized that every time I opened my mouth, I was either trying to help him fix a problem or tell him what to do. And this was actually pushing him away. I had to learn a completely different way how to communicate that didn't involve being in charge, fixing, or bossing him around. And that was one of the hardest things I've ever done. And it's exactly the work we do together in my private group, which changed everything. You have to learn how to live from your body instead of your head. When you learn how to live from your body instead of your head, you become so magnetic. When you make that shift from being the strong one all the time, being the manager or boss babe, to actually being softer, your presence becomes magnetic. Just simply being around you, he won't be able to get enough of you. If this is the right man for you, and this is what makes him chase you and keep chasing you. I have specific mind body tools that are designed to make this happen almost instantly, and I'll show you how to use them in my private group. When you stop those behaviors that are actually making your relationship emotionally unsafe, you create the space for him to finally step up and give you the effort, the love, the devotion that you really want, and finally have the deeply connected and loving relationship that you've been craving. Because look, we're not meant to stay in relationships where we don't feel loved and adored. Love isn't supposed to feel like a 9 to 5 job. And using these tools will help you to finally stop having to be on all the time, taking care of everything, doing everything, feeling drained. Two, deeply connected, loved, and adored. The ones that I share in my private, free group literally transformed my whole life. And it just didn't affect my relationship. It changed how I feel 100% of the time. If you're ready to stop carrying the weight of your relationship on your back or feel unseen and unfulfilled in your relationship, this is how you can start feeling deeply loved and adored, click the link below to join us. I'll see you inside.